After 60, emotional intelligence becomes more important than ever. My friends, I want you to pause for a moment and think about this. If you could carry only one skill into the final decades of your life, a skill that could keep your relationship strong, your mind calm, and your heart at peace, what would it be? Some people might say good health, and that is important. Others might say financial security, and yes, that matters too. But as someone who has spent decades studying the human mind and working with adults in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, I can tell you this. The skill that will matter most to your happiness and well-being after 60 is not how fast you can run, not how much money you have in the bank, but how well you understand and manage your emotions. This is what we call emotional intelligence, and after 60, it becomes more important than ever before. Before we go any further, let me invite you to do something. If you are new here, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Stay with us until the end of this video, because what I am about to share may not only change how you see the years ahead, but also how you experience every single day you have left. Why emotional intelligence matters more after 60. When we are young, life moves quickly. There are jobs to be done, children to raise, bills to pay. Our emotions often get pushed aside, or worse, they take control of us. A harsh word from a coworker can ruin an entire day. A small setback feels like the end of the world. Relationships rise and fall in the space of weeks. But as the years pass, something changes if we let it. By the time we reach 60, we've seen enough of life to understand that emotions are like waves on the surface of a much deeper ocean. They come, they go, and they rarely last as long as we fear they will. This understanding doesn't just make us calmer, it makes us wiser. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard, Yale, and the University of California have shown that emotional intelligence often peaks in our 60s and 70s. Why? Because the human brain, especially the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for reasoning and self-control, develops patterns over a lifetime that help us pause before reacting, see situations from multiple perspectives, and respond with more empathy. In other words, after 60, we may lose some speed in our step, but we gain something far more valuable: the ability to navigate life with grace. The quiet strength of experience. Let me share a truth I've seen over and over again in my work with older adults. Emotional intelligence is not just about controlling your temper or avoiding arguments. It's about seeing the bigger picture, understanding the stories behind people's actions, and knowing when to hold on and when to let go. I once worked with a gentleman named Charles, a retired teacher in his late 60s. He told me about a bitter argument he'd had with his brother decades earlier. For years, neither of them spoke. But after their mother passed away, Charles began to reflect on the pain of that silence. I realized, he told me, that holding on to my anger wasn't protecting me. It was poisoning me. With time and a lot of self-reflection, Charles reached out. The reunion wasn't perfect. His brother didn't suddenly become a different person. But Charles was at peace, because he had learned to manage his own emotions instead of letting them manage him. That is emotional intelligence in action. It doesn't promise to make other people change. It changes you, and that change can transform your life. The physical benefits of emotional intelligence. Many people don't realize that emotional intelligence isn't just soft skills. It has real, measurable effects on physical health. When you manage your emotions well, you lower your stress levels. Lower stress means lower blood pressure, reduced strain on your heart, and a stronger immune system. Chronic stress, on the other hand, can contribute to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even memory problems. In fact, research from the American Heart Association shows that people who practice emotional regulation have significantly lower risks of cardiovascular events, even more than some lifestyle changes like diet adjustments alone. Of course, you still need to eat well, move your body, and sleep enough, but managing your emotions is a critical part of the health equation after 60. The emotional challenges after 60. That said, let's not pretend this is easy. After 60, we face unique emotional challenges. Some of you have lost a spouse or lifelong friends. Some feel left behind by a society obsessed with youth and speed. Many worry about declining health or the fear of becoming dependent on others. These are real, and they deserve to be acknowledged. Emotional intelligence doesn't mean ignoring your pain or pretending to be happy all the time. It means being able to face your feelings honestly without being consumed by them. Take the example of Linda, a widow in her early 70s. She told me that after her husband passed away, she spent months avoiding people. She didn't want to cry in front of anyone. She didn't want to answer the question, "How are you doing?" But slowly, Through joining a small art group at her community center, she began to talk again. She learned that sharing her grief didn't make her weaker, it made her stronger. Practical ways to strengthen emotional intelligence after 60. 1. Pause before reacting. In moments of tension, give yourself space. Count to 10. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want from this moment? 2. Listen without planning your reply. Most of us listen while preparing what we are going to say next. True listening means focusing entirely on the other person's words and emotions before you respond. 3. Practice gratitude. Keep a small notebook. Each evening, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be grand: a good cup of coffee, a call from your daughter, a walk without pain. Over time, gratitude shifts your brain's focus from what's missing to what's present. 4. Stay socially engaged. Join a club, volunteer, or reconnect with old friends. Emotional intelligence grows in connection, not isolation. 5. Take care of your body. Physical and emotional health are deeply connected. A short daily walk, enough water, and 7 to 8 hours of sleep can dramatically improve your mood and patience. One of the greatest gifts emotional intelligence gives you after 60 is perspective. When you've lived through wars, recessions, family struggles, and personal losses, you start to see that most problems are temporary. The storm will pass. The hurt will heal. The seasons will change. Perspective helps you choose your battles wisely. You no longer waste energy proving you are right in every argument. You value peace over pride, connection over competition. You see that sometimes silence speaks louder than words, and kindness has more power than cleverness. I remember a woman named Elaine, 68, who told me about her teenage grandson. He had made a poor decision that cost him a scholarship. Her first instinct was to lecture him, but then she thought back to her own teenage years and the mistakes she had made. Instead of scolding, she listened. She told him, "I know you're hurting. Let's talk about what comes next." That one conversation changed the way he saw her, not as someone who judged him, but as someone who understood him. That is the heart of emotional intelligence, creating safety in relationships so that truth can be spoken without fear. Letting go without giving up. After 60, letting go becomes a necessary skill. You may have to let go of the career that once defined you, the home you raised your children in, the perfect health you once enjoyed, or even dreams you never got to fulfill. Letting go does not mean giving up. It means making peace with what cannot be changed so you can give your full energy to what can still be built. Emotional intelligence allows you to grieve without becoming trapped in grief. Think of it like pruning a tree. You remove what is no longer growing, not to weaken the tree, but to help it bloom again. The role of forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the highest forms of emotional intelligence. After 60, holding on to bitterness is like carrying a heavy backpack on a long journey. It slows you down and robs you of joy. Forgiveness doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes the other person is gone, or they are not capable of change. But forgiveness is for you. It's a decision to no longer let the offense define your days. I've seen this in my own life. An old friend betrayed my trust many years ago. For a long time, I replayed that moment in my mind, feeling the same sting over and over. One day, I realized I was giving him free rent in my head. So I made a choice. I forgave him not because he asked, but because I deserved peace. That decision changed the way I slept, the way I smiled, and the way I related to others. Why this matters now more than ever. We live in a world that feels louder, faster, and more divided every year. Social media amplifies anger. News cycles feed fear. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But here's the truth. After 60, you have the opportunity to be an anchor in the storm. Younger generations need your calm presence, your steady voice, your lived wisdom. Your emotional intelligence can ripple out, affecting not only your own life but the lives of everyone you touch. A grandmother's patience can teach a child to trust. A neighbor's kindness can soften a stranger's day. A friend's listening ear can pull someone back from despair. This is why emotional intelligence after 60 isn't just a personal skill, it's a legacy. Building emotional intelligence today. If you're wondering where to start, begin small. You don't have to meditate for hours or read a library of psychology books. You can start by paying attention to your reactions today. Notice the moments that make you tense. Notice the times you speak too quickly. Then ask yourself, how could I respond with more understanding next time? Call someone you haven't spoken to in a while, not to fix the past, but to say, "I was thinking about you." Write down 3 good things about your day before you go to bed. Offer to help someone without expecting anything in return. These small steps add up. Over time, they become habits. And those habits shape the person you are becoming. A final story to carry with you. I will leave you with this story of Robert, an 82-year-old man I met at a senior center in Vermont. Robert had lived through the Great Depression, served in the military, and worked for decades as a mechanic. He told me he used to have a quick temper, especially when customers questioned his work. But in his later years, he made a decision to change. "I realized I wanted my grandchildren to remember me for my smile, not my scowl," he said. Robert began practicing deep breathing when frustrated. He started thanking people, even those who criticized him. Over time, his relationships transformed. People wanted to be around him. His family gatherings grew warmer. And on his 80th birthday, his granddaughter stood up and said, "Grandpa, you've taught me that kindness is stronger than anger." That is the legacy emotional intelligence can leave behind. My friends, after 60, emotional intelligence is no longer optional. It is essential. It is the key that unlocks peace in your heart, joy in your days, and connection in your relationships. It's what will make these years perhaps the most meaningful chapter of your life truly worth living. If this message has touched you, I want you to do 3 things. First, subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the lessons and stories we share every week. Second, share this video with someone you care about, a friend, a family member, a neighbor, so they too can see the power of emotional intelligence in these years. And third, tell me in the comments, what is one moment in your life when emotional intelligence changed the outcome for the better? Your story might be the one that inspires someone else. Stay with us for more videos filled with insight, warmth, and practical wisdom to help you live these years with health, joy, and meaning. Thank you for listening to our story, and remember, your heart and mind are your greatest treasures. Treat them well, and they will serve you for the rest of your life.